a lot of what we're still talking about is Afghanistan and coronavirus, of course, because the Delta variant is running rampant throughout the country. No signs of slowing down, especially in areas that are much less vaccinated than other areas of the country. And in Michigan, we learned, of course, that there was the first sentencing of the right-wing suspect, or I guess now convicted, attempted kidnapper of Gretchen Whitmer. So there's a lot of things going on there. And there have been anti-mask, anti-COVID protests there for quite a while, even at the beginning of the pandemic. But there was an anti-mask protester testifying at the County Board of Commissioners in Michigan yesterday. And these parents are very concerned about their children wearing masks. Well, usually they're using it as a proxy for their own outrage about having to wear masks and the pandemic not magically being over, because like children, if they don't get what they want immediately and doing it the way that they want it, they're going to throw a tantrum. And throw a tantrum this man did. You'll see here that he clearly does not perceive himself as the villain, and he threatens to do bad things while insisting he is a good person. And the other people in the room are good people. Newsflash. You're not inherently good if you do bad things. Your actions define who you are. But warning, he screams a bit, so you may want to turn down your headphones. Here is this man at this Michigan meeting.
And Dan Vanderswag.
That's my father-in-law right there speaking on behalf of his grandkids. You with that diaper on your face, if he farted right now, could you smell it? That's how stupid this is. We're all playing games here with people's lives, and I'm sick of it. I represent all these hardworking guys that couldn't be here today to take off work to put up with this BS that you guys are putting down. And there's hell coming. There's hell coming, and I'm not doing it to threaten anybody. But there's a lot of good guys out there ready to do bad things soon. Watch what's coming. These mandates are against the Nuremberg Codes. The first one states voluntarily informed consent. Are you a Nazi? What is it? They sent my dad off to Vietnam and fight for the country, but you're going to tell him to wear a mask?
Sir,
I appreciate the fact that I can't control myself. There's a lot of other guys that can't control themselves.
Talk to me.
That's why they're not here right now.
Somebody.
I have nothing else to say. Do what's right. There's a lot of bad things coming.
That's all the in-person public comment. We do have 11 current Zoom.
Yeah, that was a thunderous cheer behind him. Right. So good job alerting people and announcing yourself that you're going to commit terrorism.
Yeah,
it's
the
helpful.
whole informed consent thing is difficult with people who refuse any information that's provided to them.
Well, you know that he got all of his information from anti-vaxx memes, right? Because he opened with the point about diapers and farting, which we've really heard a little bit or a lot from these anti-vaxxers. They seem to use that quite frequently and think it's a really salient point.
Well, also the fixation on them being like Nazi victims, I think is a bit revealing too.
Well, yeah. So, right. He immediately goes to the Nuremberg codes. I don't know necessarily how that applies here, but it really does say something about the psychology of some of these anti-mask, anti-vaxxers, that they jump to Holocaust analogies in order to make their point, because that really shows how deep the victim complex is and how deeply seated it is. They go to the most extreme example in modern history of brutality, of genocide, of unfathomable suffering to describe the inconvenience of them, in their own words, putting a diaper on their face, a cloth covering over their nose and mouth. Like, there is really no sense of proportionality because the aggrievement is that entrenched and that strong, that pungent, if we want to keep going down this diaper road, right? I don't actually want to.
And like, this is about who this guy's media sources are and the kinds of groups this guy's percolating in. Like, this is being stoked for basically primary purposes for the Republican Party. This is how they're positioning themselves based on who can be the most aggrieved about trying to deal with the pandemic as a government. And I think that I think one of these quote-unquote good guys is going to do a bad thing, and I think it's being completely stoked on by the Republican Party.
And the media sources too, right? So, as you say,
right? I mean, well, they're obviously part of.
They're
the
working hand in
Party,
hand, and it's helpful. It's helpful. So to bring it back, it's helpful for them to bring it back to this point I've been trying to make. As you say, this is a strategic decision made by media people and coming from right-wing think tanks, coming from right-wing leaders to energize people on that level. Like, as you see, that man's anger is genuine. His sense of entitlement and his sense of victimhood is very, very real, and that engages him on an organic level. And there's nothing like a sense of complete victimization in order to engage people on the local level in politics. He's going to his meeting and he's screaming, and God damn it, he's going to vote for the furthest right politician in the primary. He's going to get involved in his local school board elections. He's going to get involved in state politics. And, you know, maybe he'll commit terrorism too.
Well, let's be clear about what the problem with the right is about responding to COVID. It's that they can't force workers to go make money for capitalists. Like, that's the big rub. And I wouldn't be surprised if you look at a lot of these guys and they're in like a certain amount of debt for a business enterprise that they really need, like, things to get back to normal.
Right.
I think that's motivating a awful lot of this. When you hear, and I don't know what this guy's background is, but I think a lot of this anti-mask stuff that's absolutely unconcerned with the safety of workers is motivated by that level, the entrepreneurial class's economic anxiety.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I'll add a really facile point. Perhaps their fixation with diapers is because they are babies themselves. To add to Matt's excellent point.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.